we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Guys, I got to tell you, Cause, he had this guest on. He made me depressed almost immediately. No. This guy's name was Peter Apple, baseball guy. And he started saying that Vlatty has basically in this series been driving the ball directly into the ground. And I was like, stop talking like this. And then he started saying that this pitcher, Kirby, makes Vlatty drive the ball directly into the ground. I'm like, do I even want to watch this game tonight? I was like, we got to have some positivity here, man. Hazy, put some positivity onto it.
Hazy. I want to. I do want to be positive going into the game tonight. I
know, but that's how he was describing Vladdy's little stint. He's like, this guy is hammering this thing directly into the ground.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
At times he's been unlucky. They've all been a little bit unlucky. You know, baseball stats, you can find, different things where you're hitting the ball and where the defenders happen to be, and are you getting lucky in terms of finding gaps and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like in the
How
playoffs.
come there's not like a hockey stat? Like I just saw a stat about EP40 where it was like, stats are saying he's going to break out of it. And I was like, where does that come from?
It's got to be like you guys probably every once in a while do the old back in my day, and
Dude,
I wish
I'll tell you back in my day there was no stat that said this was the stat for my day. This guy sucks right now.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
There was no stat saying this guy really looks by the numbers I'm looking at that he's going to break out of this any second.
Modern athletes have to love it because you can almost manipulate everything. Not quite everything, but almost, where you can find a guy who is just playing horribly and say, you know what, though, if you look at this stat, this would indicate things are moving in the right direction.
Pick. That's what you do is you cherry pick.
Yes.
You go, this guy's had lots of shot attempts. He's had lots. Honestly, I've watched Vancouver
I love that
play.
One. Puck-luck.
I've watched Vancouver play. We've talked about this. Top players have to be top players. Thatcher Demko looks like he's returned. He looks awesome. EP40, it's Elias Pettersson doesn't look great. I'm sorry. Whatever number that you can suggest that he does look great, the proof is in the pudding where when you watch top players play, the guys who make the most money on the ice, they're the most noticeable for the most part. Off night here or there. Pettersson, watching those games, he was not. Their best player was Sherwood, Kiefer Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
He's flying around, hitting people, scoring goals, doing all these things. He looks good. Demko looks good. We know Quinn Hughes is what he's going to bring to the table. Even on an off night, Quinn Hughes was -3 the other night. He had 5 shots on goal. He looked good. Like he was all over. It just didn't work out for him. It happens.
Jamie, but at the end of the day, it's about production. Even with William Nylander, after the coach's little talk about him basically not working close to hard enough, it's all about production. It's not like Nylander's point production last night was Charlie Hustle plays. He stopped up at the blue line, hit OEL, got a helper, threw one on net, a little give and go play with OEL. JT taps it in, helper, and then an empty net goal. And then everybody shakes your hand after the game saying, that's the guy that I wanted to see.
3 points is 3 points, right?
3 points, and it's like, that's the guy. I remember shaking coaches' hands when they come around in the locker room after. They're like, great game. Where, like, empty net, you get a goal and assist. It was like, I was so bad out there. But it's about production and wins, man. Yeah. I said that last night in the panel about Easton Cowan. That's all that matters. You got to produce, and your team wins, then it keeps the flies off.
100%. Like, we could have been talking something different today about the goaltender. Allowed 4 goals, looked okay, a couple near the end, whatever, but he got to win. As a backup, you got to produce a win. That's all Craig Berube woke up today and going, that Primo kid delivered a win when we needed one. That's it. I'll take it. Right. A win. And Hayes, you say it all the time. Tough to criticize a win. You can criticize it, but they still won. That's the bottom line. So that's the way I look at it, and you move on from that.
Totally. And, again, Vlatty being 0 for 7 in the series, if the Jays are up 2-0, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
No.
Doesn't matter.
That's when they would say, "Hey, this guy's he's on the verge, like
right.
he's gonna break through."
Exactly. Look out, Seattle, because you're in one now. Like Jays are up 2-0, and Vlatty hasn't even woken up yet.
Exactly.
So it's always going to be connected, and obviously that was the case last night for the Leafs. And you're right, Caden Primo gets his first win as a Maple Leaf, and that's all that matters. And the big boys, they racked up that game sheet, right? I thought Nyes looked really good last night, but Willie had a few points, and Austin had 2 goals, and they're loving those empty netters. And JT scores, like you said, so everyone
Easton
can leave
Cowan
the building
got
feeling
his first
good.
Point.
Yeah, Cowan got his first point. And I was thinking about it today, like we always kind of discuss the Cowan situation, or whoever the third guy is on an established line, as if it goes poorly, or the understanding that the best player is going to be consulted, right? And understanding that Berube every once in a while is going to check in with Matthews. What do you think? How's it feel for you? What kind of looks are you getting with him? And sometimes, I think the natural reaction or projection is to lean negative. Like if it doesn't go right, these guys will say, you got to give me somebody else.
Right.
But it can swing the other way. And this is where it becomes, the possibility for a magical situation for Easton Cowan. If the big dog vouches for you, you're playing with him, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he may go against you. He may or may not, and then you're not. But if Berube asks Matthews, what do you think of this kid? And he goes, I like him, keep him with me. He's staying with him. So he needs to make sure Austin is happy before Craig is happy, before anyone else is happy.
That's true.
Because if Austin is vouching for him and Matthews is feeling it, and I thought Matthews looked pretty good last night. And, again, that top line, they looked good, and everyone was getting cookies. And, it was a fun game. It turned into be a pretty entertaining game. But Cowan, the guy he's really auditioning for is 34. That's who he needs in his corner. And it looked like he was pretty happy with him last night, and he probably should be.
Yeah, I mean, we even talked about it the game before against Detroit. Cowan puts Matthews in on a breakaway. I said, if Matthews scores on that breakaway against Talbot and they win the game, that was Cowan's first point. But that was a beautiful play in the neutral zone there. And he, Austin mirrors the puck. Cowan gets it to him. Little turnover. Away you go. Get the assist. This was
a sick play by both of them. Like Matthews stopping on a dime like that. Like that was Nyes, I thought, was outstanding last night.
Yeah.
I thought Nyes was really good. And
I thought their goaltender, he might as well take his jersey off after the first.
Well, what's he going to do on that one? Like, he's not
that's the only
that.
good goal that was really scored. The John Tavares one, he was in the corner. He might as well shot it in himself. Ridiculous. And that Bobby McMahon goal was outrageous. It's not NHL goaltending. It was terrible. Like I'm good for the Leafs, but I'm looking at that Annan and going, what the hell is he doing in the net?
Well,
it's ridiculous.
That's why he's jumped around and he's a backup in Nashville.
Well, even the other, like I get that Marcia so waves at that, but that McCabe goal was like a shot from the point. Like I don't know what was
from the
going
point.
on.
Hey, you got to have it.
Guy getting offense from the point.
Hayes, you're so right about Easton Cowan and Matthews. I can remember when I got my duty of centering Brendan Shanahan, and I got injured. So I get injured, and then this guy gets called up from the minors, and Shanny starts ripping home goals. And I'm watching this from the press box, and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm getting healthy and just going back on that line. So that's just all kinds of, like you think about it every day, and it takes a while. Like he's a 20-year-old rookie for him to say, like there's some guys that go to the rink and there's different color practice jerseys where you know what color your practice jersey is going to be. Yeah. And until it's probably not going to be all year where he feels comfortable that he's going to have the same color as Austin Matthews, right? Because it's just there's a lot of moving parts.
Very early.
And
they played 4 games. He's played 2. He didn't even play the first 2 games.
The team has to have success. The line has to have success. He's got to feel comfortable. He still has all these things going on around him where he's getting comfortable with the league, doesn't know what tuna tartare is. There's just a lot of things going on for him and a lot of things to worry about, especially when you know you're going on the ice. And fighters have always talked about pressure, about, I got to fight that guy tomorrow night. Knowing you got to produce offense with the best player on the team on a nightly basis, and your positioning on the team depends on it, that's a tough gig, man.
Yeah, there's anxiety that can come with that, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like the London Knights where you're just going to go out there and stay on the ice for 2 minutes and do whatever you want and dangle and points. Well, it's like it's the real deal. Like you're playing with one of the best players in the world, and it's got to go for him for you to kind of stay there.
And you'll see, though, if he struggles a little bit, you'll see him go down the lineup and then maybe back up it. Like, I just don't think – I think Easton Cowan's first year, especially early on here, that there will be some ups and downs. There may be a pocket where he's on fire, feels good, and you're right, 34 goes – we got to play with this guy, or we want him on the line. And then there might be some growing pains where it's like, okay, pushed out of a game for 2 or 3 games. Somebody else goes in there and he goes down the lineup and plays third or fourth line minutes, but then gets his way back up there. Like this is just the start of his career. Like this is literally, we're watching the start of this kid's career. We've known about him for years because he's a draft pick and winning in London and all of that, but literally, he's just starting his career. It's exciting to see, what his ceiling is going to be, but it's going to be an up and down year for him. There's going to be a lot of great storylines for him.
Well, and this is something that I'm certain they don't consider, nor should they. Craig Berube is a coach in a professional sports league. His job is to win. But it's a very entertaining story, and it's a very good distraction. And it's something that I feel like the fan base is gravitating towards, right? There hasn't been a young guy coming up in a while. Nyes was the last one, and that was a few years ago. Yeah. Prior to that, you got to go back 10 years. Like 10 years ago when Matthews and Marner and Nylander showed up. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And there is something very refreshing about the story with a team that, again, is very familiar, very similar, kind of old, set in their ways, going about their business. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually advantageous in sports, and I think it will benefit them long term, is that, continuity and the average age of the team. But from a fan perspective, the Cowan story is intoxicating.
It's fun.
It's absolutely. And let's face it, it's not as fun if he's on the fourth line playing 8 minutes.
Right.
Like what makes it particularly fun and a distraction from the guy who left and everything else that happened over the offseason is he's playing with Matthews and Nyes, and he's playing big minutes and he's getting rave reviews. And, I think they're protecting him pretty well in terms of he's not doing the intermission stuff. And last night it was McCabe and Matthews and, they're not going to – the Leafs, they know kind of how to run this business and this operation, and they're going to try to –
we love asking in this city, like every single person in the organization about one guy. It's like –
yeah.
It gets a little bit much.
McCabe scores a goal, and they're like, what do you make of Cowan's game?
That's what's That's what's going to happen.
No, I know, but the guy rips home a goal. He doesn't score that much, and it's just like, I think it was Masters. Yeah. Obviously, it was Masters.
You think Easton Cowan?
First question, he's like, Cowan's game? Like it or not?
It's so good, though. It
was like Justin Leonard at the British Open, where he shot 65, and the guy goes, what did you think of Tiger's 63? He's like, what the hell are you talking about?
And you're right with McCabe, because he may have had whiplash when they said Masters wants to talk to you. I don't recall the last time that guy ever did an intermission.
Dude, I don't either. I don't remember.
It's great, though.
Him on the team, the Leaf games I've done, I don't remember him ever doing that.
No.
It is. It's great, though. I mean, he scores a goal, and you interview him, and then Masters goes, what do you make of Easton Cowan's game? And it's like, he's getting better every shift. Like, he answered it awesome. You know what?
They've all been good.
And
the worst part, Noodles, is if you're if you're in the dumps and you get benched and then someone just throws a microphone in front of you, you're like, Easton Cowan, thoughts on that little stud? Yeah. And you're like, I don't even care to talk to you about anything, let alone this rookie not stealing the spotlight.
And again, they're an old team, man. Like, Nyes is, 22 or 23?
3, I think,
And he's the youngest guy. Like, a large majority of them are late 20s, early to mid-30s. So, and he's not 18. He's 20. They sent him back multiple times, right? Like, he's not an 18-year-old kid. Every year counts for something in terms of maturity. But he really does stick out because he's so much younger and so much more raw than everyone else on the roster. But a win is a win is a win. And then they're down in New York, and the Rangers have been shut out 3 straight games at home. That is an NHL record to start the season.
Imagine wheeling out your new coach, and things are changing, and we're going to start making some noise. and you don't score a goal for 3 games. Meanwhile, one guy they had to get rid of is out in Anaheim, and he's ripping home goals.
Kreider's got like 4 goals or whatever.
Chris Kreider, they just had to just gas that guy.
He's got to go.
I know he's older. I've always liked the guy, but he just had to go, and he's got 4 goals with the Ducks. Mm-hmm. But why did he have to go? They can't score a goal at home.
Well, and tomorrow's in Toronto. I should point that out. That's at Scotiabank. So maybe with them hitting the road, they come alive. I don't know.
My first comment is going to be, I'm expecting a low-scoring affair.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, they did win 2. They won their 2 road games. That's the thing. It's just at home. And I will say, for as much heck Stuart Skinner has gotten, I went back and watched today.
Looked pretty good. The
Rangers had 23 high-danger chances yesterday. Like, Edmonton didn't really deserve to win that game. It was the Skinner show. So the weird part is the Rangers, we don't know still what they are as a team. You're right. Like, Kreider had to go. Like, they did create some chances. This Stuart Skinner, like, looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. Played well, and Edmonton snuck out a win. That was probably what you would call a goalie steal.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, let's see if the Rangers have a response or if the Leafs have some confidence and keep them down. Like, you got to keep your thumb on teams that
absolutely
are coming off the fans booing them and getting in heck in your own building type of thing. We'll see what they got.
They've had a real opportunity. Again, they're 2-2. It's 4 games in. But Habs opening night, back-to-back against Detroit, Nashville, now New York, who's struggling. Like, you don't want to spoil this opportunity to pick up points and pick up wins, because the Leafs have had a relatively soft schedule, a lot of home games, and we all know that that's going to turn. Right? At some point, you're going to hit the road, and you're going to play better teams, and that's when it's going to get more difficult as the season goes on.
You're right. You played Detroit, a non-playoff team. You're playing the Rangers, that were a non-playoff team. You've got Seattle coming in this weekend, and you've got New Jersey on Tuesday. Like, these are opportunities against teams that, regardless of whether you believe they're going to make the playoffs or not, they aren't the top, we'll call them the top 8 teams in the league, top 10 teams in the league right now. So, if you're the Leafs, you've got to have you've got to find a way to get points.
You're favored
early on.
Leafs are favored, right? Yeah. You want to hit the ground running. And, it was a cool night in the NHL. It was a cool night in baseball. We'll get to that a little bit later this hour. And, of course, Game 3 tonight in Seattle. Tim Kurkjian will join us from Seattle around 5:30. Ray's coming up as well. Ray Ferraro on the show today. But the Habs end up stealing one last night. And that Demidov, man, that goal he scored to tie the game up was unreal.
Dude, he's got some hands on him. The patience. And it was almost like when he pulled it to his backhand, a lot of guys would rush it and just try to, get it into the net. Watch how he just takes that extra second to make sure it goes upstairs. He's just gifted around the net. The guy, everybody was on him, and he just took that extra time to say, I'm going to just make sure, these hands and the moves, you can't go get your stick there, Matty Beniers. I don't know what you
tough look.
It is you just.
But still, listen, Demidov set it up, man. Off the boards, dangles in the middle of the ice, goes to the net. That's a great play. And the Bell Center was electric last night. The opening ceremony was remarkable. They paid homage to Ken Dryden, as you knew they would, and they should. And then it's Demidov. We talked about Lane Hudson and what he does to that place. And Montreal, everything is breaking their way. Everything is breaking their way. It's a really positive story out there.
And they stuck with it. That's the thing. I don't know. Joey Decord would probably want some of those goals back. But Caulfield, man, that OT goal, that's a sneaky little goal, man. That's a goal scorer's goal. Right off the head, short side. He had an option on the back door and decide, you know what, I'm going to put it right there. There is some skill on that team, and it is nice to watch. And you're right. Hudson's dancing, and we're watching it right here. He's got Suzuki right through the blue paint. And he gets the goalie to lean off and puts it under the bar. They made a comeback in that game.
They did. They were dead in the water, man.
Yeah, they were.
They found a way to battle back and actually win the game. So Montreal's off to a great start.
Yeah.
We're waiting on news of Brady Tkachuk. It's, second opinion season, right, in sports. Yeah. Everyone's looking for a second and third and fourth opinion. But I guess Brady's down in New York looking for
just dying for somebody to say to him, it's not as bad as I think.
It's a sprain.
Well,
actually, it's a sprain.
Which is positive, because I think a lot of guys are saying, I needed somebody to tell me that I'm done for the year.
Right. He wants to play, clearly. And if he has to have surgery and he's out for months, Man, I thought Travis Green handled it. I think he handled it well, but you could tell he's not in the mood for basically the media to intimate that they're in big trouble. He's trying to shut that down, which you have to. You have to. You can't sit there and just wallow in it. You can't. What's he going to do? Go up there and let's light a candle for Brady because he's not playing and our season's in big trouble.
Yeah.
Green. Travis Green's got to handle it properly, and he's out, and you move on, and you got to keep everyone upbeat. But it's
you're
tough.
Literally putting lines together on a board for everybody before the game, and Tkachuk's coming out, and Amadio's going up to the first line.
Yeah.
So you could say next man up, but that's a big chore for that guy who's basically been a depth guy. He has won a cup in Vegas, I believe, but now he's the first line left winger.
Yeah, I think they'll move it around too. The only, slight good news is they're getting Pettersson back. Who's a good player, so they can. He was missing, so if you Pettersson coming back, but you're right, it's going to be by committee. That's the thing. If you're not going to score 5-on-5, you better be winning 3-2. The goalies have to be good. The D have to be good. You've got to find a way. You're not replacing Brady Tkachuk. There's nobody on that roster that you go, okay, you just take Brady's spot. That's the difference. So, we've heard it for now how many months? You got to replace Marner by committee and all that. Mm-hmm. They got to do it by committee, and they've got, if Ridley Gregg goes up there or Amadio or whatever, how about Tim Stützle have? He's still a hell of a player. They've got guys that have to step up in the absence of Brady Tkachuk.
Yes.
Because there's
one
there's
guy cannot end your season. If you're one player, now a goaltender might be the rare exception, clearly, but if one player, whoever it is, ends your season, then you weren't legit anyway. And I think Ottawa proved last year they were legit, and this will be a true test. If he misses 30 games, 35 games, that's a lot of time. It's a huge chunk of the season.
I always go back to one comparison, and it's dating myself, and it might be an extreme example, but the 1 year that Colorado lost Forsberg in the playoffs, and Joe Sakic won them a Stanley Cup without Forsberg.
Yeah, the spleen. Remember, he had a spleen.
Yeah, it was something. He wasn't playing. He was out of the playoffs, and Joe Sakic was like, well, I can't sit here and piss and moan. I got to go out there. And they won the Cup without Forsberg, man.
That's right.
I remember that.
That's right.
He had a ruptured spleen or something weird like that.
Whatever it was, Noodles, it was like the guy wasn't playing.
He was not coming back.
No.
Yeah. Look at the Jays with Bichette. Bichette's out. He's been their co-MVP all year, and he hasn't played
Nobody
a playoff
cares.
game.
What's your gut feeling?
You got to win tonight.
What's your gut feeling about tonight, the Jays? Where are we at here? Positive vibes or nervous or what? What do we got here?
My gut feeling is Shane Bieber performs tonight. That's my gut feeling. He's performed really well against Seattle in his career at that building. He owes them one to an extent. Went on the road game 3 in New York. It didn't go so well for him. I think he has a night, and I think that sets the tone. And I think if they win tonight, then, it's 51-49 Seattle. It's a whole new series if you win tonight. I always say it. Someone's got to be up 2-1 if you're going to Game 4. I guess you could be up 3-0. I guess that's not actually accurate. But if you want to make it a long series, someone's going to be up 2-1. And that's the scenario that the Jays have to find themselves in tonight. They have to find a way for the bats to come alive and be tough outs, man. That's what they were all year. They were a tough out all season long.
What about this for Bieber, Hayes? Can he perform, and could he also – I don't even know if the Jays organization or Schneider would let him, but you see what the Dodgers pitchers are doing?
Yes, Yamamoto again last night. And
the guy pitched the whole game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Snell pitched 8 innings.
Right.
But when you look at Bieber and his body of work, and it's just the way the Jays have worked, I don't even think that would be an option, even if he was dialed in.
No,
I'm not sure they would allow themselves to do it either.
No,
which is so stupid. But
which is even in a do or die, man, where it's like our lives are on the line.
No hitter. He could have a no-hitter going. They'll be like, let's bring in Brendan Little here. We need Little. Bring in Little. No hitter.
That's
Perfect
the
game.
thing. That's the concerning part. Let these guys run.
Let them breathe.
I would love to see your face. No hitter in the 5th.
Yeah.
Little, and if there was a candid camera on you, I would just love to see
I'll live stream it somewhere tonight on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or something. You will find me online.
You'll be driving to Seattle.
Yes, I will.
Charge the mound.
Crossing the border in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening. All right, Jerry's coming up this hour because we got Ray and Tim Kurkjian going to join us today. We got our best bets coming up as well. We got some crazy audio coming out of the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals that we will play and break down. A weird story also about Teoscar Hernandez and which hotel he was staying in Milwaukee. We'll tell you about that. Leafs back in action tomorrow. Game 3 of the ALCS tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
You're going to want to hear this.
Jerry's percentages.
I don't love being commissioner as much as I used to. I actually love it even more.
That's the voice of a Hall of Famer.
Are you kidding? Have you been out drinking?
You're all pigeons. Filthy, filthy pigeons.
It's Jerry. Gerry.
All right, Jerry's percentages. I'm sure Jerry's been a busy guy lately. Very happy that the NHL is back and up and running here, and I'm sure he's paying attention to a lot of different things going on in the sports world. So it's a big one tonight. We got Ray coming up. We got Tim Kurkjian coming up. So Jerry moving around a little bit. Let's get to it. Let's hear from Jerry.
Jerry's popping popcorn watching the Blue Jays flame out in the playoffs. Almost as much fun as watching the Canadian teams choke in the Stanley Cup playoffs every year.
Okay.
Come on, Jerry.
What a loser. Such a hater. It's 2-0 Seattle. Series isn't over. Let's go, Jerry. You're such a funny guy. What else do you have for us?
Vlatty Jr. better get the memo that the Yankees pitchers aren't throwing him meatballs anymore. So a 2-hit minimum is the bar Jerry is setting for him tonight.
Ooh, 2 hits for Vlatty. 2 hits plus for Vlatty tonight.
You guys heard what my guy Peter Apple said.
We got to hit him
Peter
in the ground.
Apple laid it on the line. I'm going to go 30%. It's just hard to be confident after what you watched 2 games in Toronto. It's awfully hard to be confident, even with what he did against the Yankees. I'm going 25%.
You said 30.
30%.
Peter Apple's got him all.
Yeah.
You're all messed up, man. Pete Apple.
I'm ignoring what Peter Apple said.
Yeah, forget Pete Apple.
And I'm going 51%. I believe in it. Over 50%.
Really? 1% over? That means you believe in it? I don't think so.
Well, it's more than 30 or 25 or whatever you were saying. I'm twice that amount. I believe that Vlatty, you said hits. All he needs to do, if he's hitting him into the ground, maybe it gets past the shortstop or the third baseman. Like, to me, give me a couple hits, Vlatty.
Yep.
Give me a couple.
Couple Roger Doran CNI shots through the infield. I'm going 100%.
Ooh.
100% that Vlatty Jr. steps up tonight.
Wow.
He has to. He has to. And I'm going to go a step further and say he's going to hit in the first inning tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if it's for extra bases, okay? Because that's what has to happen this evening. You want to really start the party. You want to send a message to Seattle. You got to put runs on the board immediately. And Bieber's got to go out there and pitch a clean sheet and then settle into the game and settle into a 3-game series in Seattle. And that's what it's going to be. Get comfortable out there. But I think Vlatty, he'll show up tonight. Again, he still hasn't struck out. It doesn't win you anything. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a hit. So it doesn't mean anything. But he's not up there just looking like a complete buffoon. Like he's not flummoxed by the pitching.
Yeah.
He's just not quite connecting on them. I think he breaks out tonight.
I don't know what it is. Like, I generally kind of like to be positive, but I have just a terrible feeling. Like, that place is going to be...
It'll be rocking.
Yeah, it'll be
very
rocking,
difficult.
man.
It's
and
very
I
tough.
don't know. Bieber concerned me, what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, to think of him doing what we talked about in the last segment, like being dialed in and going some kind of distance where there's some oomph to it as far as innings. I don't know. I'm just, when I put everything together, I just don't have a good feeling.
Well, I am concerned about one thing. Did I read this? Maybe I'm wrong, but was it one of the worst, we'll call it umped games? Like there
Dougie
was some,
Eddings, yeah. Doug is not everyone's favorite. It wasn't like one of the all-time worst.
But don't they apparently they released the
stats
analytics,
on it,
the stats, and he missed a lot. Like it was not good on both sides, though. Both sides,
right?
Not just
goes around, comes around. I think his accuracy rate was like 92% or something, which is a decent chunk. You know, that's like 1 in 10 pitches
Yeah, it's
Doug
not
Eddings
Leslie
has
Nielsen.
no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, that's a big part of it, man, the human element, which I love, and I advocate for it. You get the ump behind the plate that just doesn't see eye to eye with whoever's on the mound or whatever it is. That can have a huge impact on the game.
Massive effect.
Massive effect.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, Doug Eddings will not be behind the plate tonight. All right, moving on here. What else do we have, Jerry?
Both Tkachuk brothers will play in the Olympics and have a big impact in the tournament. They'll be fighting off the face-off again and beating up Euros and different people around the world.
Well, they do that, then we get sent home, man. The IOC doesn't play that. IHF don't play that. Both of them there, but more importantly, big impact, both of them on the tournament.
I don't even know if Matthew, will he be healthy by then?
Yeah, I think that's the target, isn't
They're
it?
hoping he will be.
Brady
should be.
I'm going to say 45% just on health because, I don't know, it just seems unlikely that both of them can get healthy and be dialed in and contribute to the team with what they got going on. Matthew is a big question mark. What is he having, like a hip or something? Or
Yeah, well,
he's got something serious.
Did you see they lost, now Florida lost Kulikov for 5 months. That's why they grabbed Sabrango off of waivers from Ottawa.
Right.
Like there is an element of like Florida still resting and making sure everybody's kind of healthy. I think I'm 95% sure that both of them will play and be impactful. My whole thing though is this, and I'm in the minority when it comes to it. These guys both, now Matthews won back-to-back cups. Brady's team has to take another step this year. That's their goal, right? Every team that has got players that are going to the Olympics, the focus should be the players that team that they're coming from that's paying them $1 zillion. Like, that's where, everybody's like, oh, well, what about, you got to make sure the Olympics are protected. How about you make sure your organization's fine first? Like, that's the – I'm in the minority when it comes to it, but I get frustrated when it's like,
Noodles,
make
you
sure
saw
he's
the
good
Four
for the
Nations.
Olympics.
They were doing anything to play in that.
I know. And then you look at there's injuries coming out of there or guys like struggling. Tkachuk got hurt in the Four Nations and they had to shut him down.
What about McAvoy? McAvoy was like pissed on how that was.
Year.
Yeah.
That's
pissed at everyone there.
Yeah.
You're right. But I guess my point is you still have to take care of your own organization that needs you, that needs those points. But I think
that's
95%.
why I'm low on this. Like, I'm not convinced, they're both of them are going to get there. And I think another question is what kind of form they're in. And it's going to be a different style of play, man. I keep saying this. This is not NHL rules. There's no fights off the draw. You're not like some of the hits Brady Tkachuk threw in the Four Nations. He will get a 5 in a game over there. Like they throw guys out for looking at someone the wrong way.
That's true. It's a softer.
Him and his brother were like WWE in the corners with those hits. Like they were just both jumping in the air and crushing guys.
Exactly, and it was amazing. Yeah. But it doesn't play that way in the Olympics.
You're so right. Like I remember playing in Japan and Tyson Nash hit a guy so hard his helmet went 20 feet in the air. It was a clean hit. The ref blew it down. Nobody knew what to do. They gave him a penalty for hitting the guy too hard.
Can you imagine some referee, like just some smaller referee from a smaller country, getting a load of those too?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like they would think he would think that's just the Hanson brothers. It's Slapshot. Like it would just be fascinating.
It would be crazy. You're right. Like some guy who's from Slovakia or something and
never just doesn't really know, and all of a sudden his eyeballs are popping out of his head in the first period, just watching them crush people,
chew on their mouth guard, and destroy people.
Exactly.
25% for me.
Wow.
I'm low on both fronts, like the health and the concern on that front. These are going to be long injuries, and also just the style of game and where they're at with their game when they get over there. All right, Jerry, what else do you have?
With Burrow and Lamar out of the picture, it's become very clear a non-Big Four QB will win the MVP this season.
All right, so the Big Four are Burrow, Lamar, Mahomes, Allen. Now, Mahomes and Allen are still playing, but Jerry thinks they ain't winning the MVP this year. So someone outside of those Big Four is going to win it in the NFL this year.
I'm going to go 75% because you watch – like you just go through Twitter and you see the clips on any show, any podcast, the word Baker Mayfield is popping up a lot.
Yeah, it is. He's
like today, TJ Watt was just like, or JJ Watt was like, Baker Mayfield's my guy. He's going to win the – and it's just – you know what it's like? It builds momentum, man. And I think Baker – he might be the guy. If they continue to win and he does the job, he's getting recognition where everybody – you need everybody to kind of get on board to kind of force your hand. We're like, oh, everybody says this guy's the MVP. And so far he's been getting it. So I think somebody outside of those guys will do it.
I'm lower on this, but I agree. Like, it is a PR train people get on. But I'm not counting out Josh Allen. And I'm not, like, this guy.
Mahomes is still there,
Same thing with Mahomes. Like, I'm not counting those two out because they're that good. And if you look at Allen after 2 subpar efforts in Buffalo, and if he decides to rattle off, 8 wins in a row and just dominate like he did in the first 4 games, that's MVP
He'll
for
win
me.
it. Yes, I agree with you. Allen still scares me. Mahomes is now in the hunt, and now it's becoming this, like, wow, they're so resilient story. And if he puts up numbers and guys get healthy like Rashee Rice and others.
Right.
But Baker's in it. Danny Dimes is kind of lurking in the conversation.
Danny Dimes, eh?
I saw something today. I guess he was mic'd up for his last game, and he literally said nothing. And the Colts did a great job. They posted it and kind of emphasized the fact that the guy said nothing.
What do you mean said nothing?
Like, just played.
You could hear him breathe, that's it?
There's nothing there. Danny Dimes is out there just playing. And everyone else is rah-rah and talking over things, and Danny's just kind of sitting there nodding his head. But, yeah, there's I'm going to say 49% because Allen's still there, Mahomes is there, but it's a long season, man. It's still October.
Yeah.
Right, Baker's been great. I've loved that story of, Aaron Rodgers has been good. There's other guys that have been very good. Drake May is putting his hand up a little bit. Been great in New England. There's some really good stories right now. But the 2 big dogs are the big dogs for a reason, and you got to keep going through November and December, and they know how to do that, and that's what makes it challenging.
And Hayes, as far as, like, getting the recognition and people talking about you in the media, it's like if Allen – like his pump-up tweets, it's times 10 compared to what Baker's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or Mahomes. It's like their pump-ups, or it's just magnified where people will just forget about Baker. It's that guy now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're so good and they're so beloved that
everything's on steroids as far as the recognition.
To the point where, exactly, there'll be some voters that'll say, I can't give it to Baker. Look at this guy. It's Josh Allen. Look what he's doing. Or Patrick Mahomes. Or whatever. All right, Jerry, what else you got?
I see the blue and white disease is alive and well surrounding Easton Cowan. But Jerry thinks it's going to stick because he won't play 1 game for the Marlies this season.
It's a bold take from Geraldo. Very bold.
Not 1 game for the Marlies.
1 game for the Marlies for Easton Cowan.
Man. I'm going to have to just base this off of what I've seen him do, and I'm going to say 80%. That's all I can base it off of. He doesn't look like an AHL player, so I'm going to say 80% he doesn't play for the Marlies. Until he shows me something else, and it could fade, I'll change my percentage. But through 2, I'm giving him 80%. He sticks with the big club.
I am 41%.
Okay.
I knew it was coming.
All right. That's kind of in the middle, though.
It is.
There's some indecisiveness there.
Here's why, though. Tree has been talking about acquiring a top 6 forward. If he ends up acquiring one, that pushes everybody down, right? And if he gets pushed down, it comes back to the conversation we had right at 4 o'clock, saying if he plays 8 minutes, and doesn't do much, like it's a learning curve for him. He might spend a weekend with the Marlies, just getting some reps if Lorentz comes back and there's other players moving around and all of that type of stuff. There's no guarantee. Right now it looks great, and I would say 100% just based on what I've seen in 2 games. But it's 2 games against teams that weren't playoff teams. We'll see what the next step is when you play some of the big boys and if he holds up. That's my thing. It's a long season for him.
Yep.
That's the only reason why.
Well, and he's played 2 home games. He hasn't even played a road game yet.
Right. Matchups, all of that.
You're right. There's a lot that he has to continue to prove. But,
Markers, yeah.
Nick Robertson, I don't know if he's going to be here long term.
Right.
Is Cal Yarncroke going to stay healthy? That's another element to it. It may be a scenario where, yes, he moves down, but if they don't have other options, he's going to keep playing. So I'm going to say 55%. I'm just into the majority. 55. Like Craig Berube pumping his tires. And, again, he's not 18. He can go down to the minors. No waivers. That's fine.
Right.
But, 20-year-olds play in the league. They do play in the league.
They're allowed to be good, too.
Yeah, they're allowed to play, and they're allowed to continue to prove that they should play. So it's been a good start so far. All right, Little Jerry's After Dark still to come. Ray Ferraro coming up in 20. We got Tim Kurkjian live from Seattle ahead of Game 3 tonight, and our best bets coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on YouTube Live.
Don't sweat the technique.
I think old Tua Tagovailoa had some teammates want to stuff him into a garbage can. He had an announcement today. I shouldn't have said what I said. And maybe it's not that bad, and we just need to get better.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone backtracking comments like that. It's like it's either happening or not.
It's such a disaster in Miami. The Tyreek Hill stuff from last year where then he had to backpedal. Remember, that's all they do is backpedal in Miami. Hill said, I'm out, done, can't do this anymore. And then all of a sudden, I didn't mean it. Just joking around. I want to be a Dolphin. And Tua calling people out for being late to meetings or just no-showing meetings. And now that was a misunderstanding. No, it
either happened or it didn't.
Yeah, and it happened.
Exactly.
It happened, but now he's being told, can you shut up? You know how much money we've paid you and you don't win anything? And, it's just
I would love it if it came out that he was one of the guys that didn't show up. That would be so Miami Dolphins if he ratted himself out.
Right.
Like and one of his teammates say, well, he should know that he's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That wouldn't shock me at all.
No.
It wouldn't shock me at all. There's just weird stuff going on. And when you lose, it gets really strange and weird.
Well, they point fingers. That's what it is. You start pointing fingers. The coach can't survive there, though.
No chance.
He can't survive.
No chance. And that is when you realize who's been through it, who's got what it takes to get to the other side of it. When you start losing, and it's happening in Arizona, this Jonathan Gannon character who was the one who grabbed the player who dropped the ball before the end zone, before the touchdown.
Slapped him, I think. Slapped him on the chest or something.
Yeah, and it was bad. It was a bad look, like really, really bad look. And he had to, I think he got fined, and he took a lot of heat for that. And he was asked today, he was getting asked about, emotions in the game and injuries and dealing with that. And again, the Cardinals have lost 4 straight. They're 2-0 to start the year. They've lost 4 straight. And they're in the NFC West, and this could be it for him. He's been there for a few years. This was part of one of the stranger press conferences you're ever going to see from earlier today.
Early in your career, did you have to start trying to figure out how to take the emotion out of coaching as far as when you have all these injuries and you have all these different pieces? When's the first time that you can recall that?
2007, when our quarterback went to jail.
Coach, thank you.
What the hell was that?
I love the PR guy. Coach, thanks so much. Great stuff.
Cut the mic right there.
Is that what the PR guy said?
Yeah. At the end, he's like, that's enough, because Gannon was fuming, clearly. So he's referencing being in Atlanta and being Michael Vick's coach. I think he was a defensive coach at that point.
Yeah.
But what a strange way to answer such a kind of routine cliche. It's so easy to just say, yeah, learned that early in my career. It happens. Guys get injured. You got to take the emotion out. Yeah. When back in 2007, when my quarterback went to jail.
Yeah, like Michael Vick on line 1 saying, did you really need to? It's like,
yeah, stone face too, like dead serious. Learned that the hard way. Like just said it.
Yeah.
2007.
Okay, Coach.
Goes to jail.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And you're right about, Vick's probably sitting there saying, dude, I've kind of, the smoke has settled here finally.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. No
one's
really
brought it up, and you just had to fire that one out. And I think he works for like NFL Network or something.
Yeah,
like Vick.
he's been doing media stuff, and he's going to be trending online because people are wondering who was the quarterback that got arrested and went to jail in 2007.
Well, you forget about that, right? Like
it's almost 20 years ago, the Mike Vick story.
I know, but there is like that was a tough one. Right?
That was that was a heavy story, clearly.
Yes.
And, Vick, he paid his dues. He went to jail, as Jonathan Gannon just pointed out. But, I guess that is a learning experience if you're a coach. When your quarterback is imprisoned, that is going to be something that –
Can we play it again? I want to hear the PR guy say, okay, coach, thanks a lot.
Yeah, let's hear the whole thing. Go ahead, Joe. Let's hear it.
Early in your career, did you have to start trying to figure out how to take the emotion out of coaching as far as when you have all these injuries and you have all these different pieces? When's the first time that you can recall that?
2007, when our quarterback went to jail.
Coach, thank you.
Coach, thank you. There's no elaboration or anything. He just goes, Coach, when 2007, quarterback went to jail. And he's like waiting for a response.
No follow-up. Well, if you're in the room, Noodles, you're stunned. Like, that's a jaw-dropping, like, what?
Yeah, you want to leave. You're like, I don't want to partake in any more further questions as far as this is concerned.
Coach, thanks. Thank you. Thank you for, donating your time to enlighten us on early in your career experiences. Like when your quarterback went to jail in 2007. All right, hour 2 coming up. Ray Ferraro will join us, and Tim Kurkjian from the Park. Jays Mariners tonight. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Tim Kurkjian later in the hour from the Park. Game 3 tonight, Seattle and the Jays, and both teams have revealed their lineup for the game tonight. And Anthony Santander is back in the lineup, hitting cleanup tonight.
All right.
And playing right field. So that back must have been fine flying across the country, and they need him tonight. They need someone.
You would think a guy with back stiffness and just would get on that bird haze would just be dying. It's like, sorry, man, I can't even get up in the morning, but he's dialed in.
Yeah.
Keegan thinks he's close. Your boy Keegan, he's out there.
Keegan's a fan of this. Keegan Matheson out there and said, hey, it feels like he's been close to breaking out. He is capable of doing it. And for him to be batting fourth tonight, that means Addison Barger's moving down, and I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Barger's going to play third tonight, but he hasn't had it.
He's struggled. He has struggled, and that's a guy that he had a great year coming up, and what do you have, 21?
Yeah,
21
20-plus home runs. Really good year.
Man, great season. But you know what? They need him. They need other guys. Some of those guys who were kind of like stepped up, and the Clements and guys like that, they need to be better. Varsho, I'd like to see somebody break out outside of, Vlatty and, who else?
You need someone to complement them, right? Like, it's got to be Vlatty and Kirk and Springer. And
well, that's the problem. Right. Against the Yankees, it was so magical. It was literally everyone.
Ernie Clement did not stop hitting against the Yankees.
Yeah. He was hitting them off his shoelaces out of the yard.
Yes.
Exactly.
Remember that one he golfed out? He didn't even look like he swung, and it went out of the yard.
Game two. It seemed impossible that left the yard.
Yeah, and it was like he fanned at it off of his shoestrings, and he dug it out, and it went yard. I was like, I've never seen that in my life.
First runs of the game. It was 2-0 lead, and they never looked back.
And they need an answer for Morgan Wallen, too. That's the thing.
Cal Raleigh, Jorge Polanco's been an issue. And you're right, Raleigh going home. It's not going to be easy, and it's on Bieber and the staff. And then Scherzer, game 4. That's the crazy thing. You get a win tonight. Scherzer has got to be great tomorrow night. It's not going to stop. So we'll see. And Ray's coming up here in a moment. And Ray can kind of tell us what the vibes are like in Vancouver. Is it a Jays town? Is it a Mariners town?
Oh, yeah. I've got to ask him if he was pandering to his audience when I listened to him the other day and watched him. And he said he was so excited for the for the Blue Jays to play against Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
I need to hear that.
Ray doesn't get so excited about anything. He's so excited about something
excited about
happening
golf.
in
Him
Seattle.
going to golf, yeah.
Right, if he gets to play golf, that would probably excite him. But, I guess he can kind of set the record straight. And that's always a side story, how many Blue Jay fans are going to be there tonight. There were Mariner fans in Toronto. There weren't a lot of them, admittedly. I saw way more Yankee fans than I saw Mariner fans. And Yankee fans can drive up. Like, a lot of people just in New York, the state of New York, are Yankee fans, right? People in Buffalo and upstate New York. No one's driving from Seattle to get to the first two games of the ALCS.
How many people do you think flew in from Seattle? 100?
I would guess maybe 100. Some probably did. There'd be diehards and people with money and time, and it's a magical run, but very few. That's a haul, man. Seattle to Toronto and vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Like, the actual, like, hey, I'm a diehard Mariners fan, I'm flying. Now, there might be people from Toronto that are Mariners fan that live out there and work out there that came home for the weekend or came home for Thanksgiving, like
Valid.
That type of stuff.
Be a good crossover. That would be a very good crossover. You're right.
But yeah, it's not thousands. It's, it's not Leaf fans going down to the Sabres game type of thing. It's not, that type of stuff. But we will see. I guarantee you there's going to be a big contingent of Vancouver people heading down to Seattle to watch the Blue Jays game. And I heard Ray Ferraro really selling it on his podcast.
Ray is excited that the Blue Jays are in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And he happens to be on the East Coast. He's in New York. Here he is from ESPN. The Ray and Dregs podcast. There he is, Ray Ferraro, Mr. Vancouver, Mr. Blue Jay.
Oh, yeah.
How are we feeling about the Jays out in Seattle?
I'm a Red Sox guy.
Yeah.
This is a sad state of affairs in Red Sox Nation.
Okay, Noodles were saying you're pumping up the tires, Ray. Come on, man. What
I was watching you on a broadcast. I was watching you on a broadcast. It must have been a Vancouver broadcast or something, and you were like going, yeah, I'm so excited. If the Jays make it, everybody will come down from Vancouver or whatever. I was like, maybe he's pandering to his crowd. You never know.
A little bit. Because in Vancouver, like it's not a guarantee people, if they're baseball fans, are Blue Jay fans. Like, the Mariners are kind of the closest thing we got. And so a lot of people find, like, they kind of cheer for the Mariners. And the Mariners never win. So it's kind of like when I used to cheer for the Red Sox and they never won. It was kind of like your own club. It's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like Leaf fans. Like, you never win. And so you're like, if the Leafs ever win, it'll be less fun being a fan because the misery is part of being the fan. I was an Expos guy when I was a kid. I loved the Expos. And so the Jays were always my second Canadian team. But I'll tell you, games 1 and 2 didn't go so well for them. So they better get on it.
You're not kidding, man. You're not kidding. And you're right about that scar tissue and the community that you feel a part of, because it's just misery and all these different things you've been through. That
nobody expects to win. You expect the loss, right? You're like,
exactly.
How could they do it again? And you're like, oh, well, there it is.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way. And I mean, it gets. What do they say? It gets late quick or it gets early quick, whatever. I'm jamming that up. But if you're
it gets late early, Yogi.
It gets late early. There it is, Yogi Berra, Yogi Hayes. It gets late early. And if you're the Jays, man, it's getting late early. And the same thing with the Brewers. They got to fly to L.A. and try to figure that out, which will not be any easier. But what about from the NHL's perspective, like in your career? How quick does it have to be, or how quick can it be before you start looking around and thinking, man, I'm starting to panic, whether it's on an individual basis, how you're playing, or from a team standpoint, if the team's not playing so well?
Well, I individually, I'd say about 4 or 5 games. Like, if you don't have anything and you're supposed to have something in the total columns, you start looking around and you're like, man, because 5 games, if you think of it, that's a couple of weeks, right? So now you're nearing the end of October, and you're like, wait a minute, I've got 1 assist in 5-7 games. For a team, I think it's 10 games. You can probably have a pretty good indication of what you got. Like, there's there's some teams that don't have any wins. There's some teams that have won 3 and everybody's high or low. And for me, it's too early for that. But man, there are some alarming signs when in a couple of places. And even though it is early, you're like, oosh, that's not a good thing.
What the hell you do if there's alarming signs 3 games in, Razor? Like, especially like team like Buffalo.
You are
like,
sunk.
Yeah, 3 games in, and when I think Tage Thompson came out and said, you guys need to relax. Like, if you're a fan, that would be the last thing you would want to hear. 14 or 15 years it's been, and they haven't made the playoffs, and he says that. It would be crazy.
So, I mean, what else are they going to say? But there's also been like Alex Tuck and Thompson have said, we got to figure this out. They're not talking about so they can win more. They're like, guys' careers melt away fast. And pretty soon you're in a place for, especially when you're a really good player, when you're, a guy that's just in the league, like, man, you'll play anywhere. Like, I was thrilled to play in Atlanta the last 3 years of my career. We got our teeth kicked in. I was just happy to be in the league, right? But those guys, they're looking and go, wait a minute, I could play on a really good team. I could be on a team that plays in a way different space than the Sabres. I look at Buffalo and I did some interview like at the start of the year, and I said my biggest fear or concern in Buffalo is I don't know what they're supposed to be. Like you might think you're a physical team and maybe not quite be good enough at it, or a scoring team but not quite good enough at it. Well, like what are the Sabres supposed to be? And I think that's, after this many years, that's the biggest problem. And so if they're all this fire Kevin Adams stuff. So say you fire him and you bring in a new guy, the first thing they have to do is identify what the hell they have there and what are they trying to be. Because
but that's 5 times over.
For the life of me, I can't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they?
Yeah, they're a collection. They've got some good players, but you're right. There's a culture and no identity, Ray. That's the biggest challenge. And I think you did the New York game last night against Edmonton, right? Like, what are the?
Oh no, I was in Wash. I was in Wash. I've got Edmonton the next one. I did New York opening night. They're a team in the middle in a lot of ways. Like they've got 2 lines that can score. 2 lines that could score and 2 lines that will never score. They've got some older players, no middle, and some younger players. So like it seems like they're trying to step into where the young guys take a bigger chunk of the team, except all their better players are their older guys. They're an older team. And the young guys, they sent them all to the American League, which is probably the right spot. But could you imagine, like, Noodles, you played there, and they haven't scored a goal in 3 games at home. Like that, you would feel that in the arena, like halfway through the anthem. Like you'd feel people getting nervous. It's like like JT Miller's like, relax, it's 3 games. And he's totally right. Except I don't know games. Like what exactly, what are they going to be? Like, are they going to score enough to be good enough? And I don't know that they are.
Well, on an individual basis, Elias Pettersson, I guess, came out today and say, I got to take some ownership for my slow start. Speaking of his slow start, he's got 1 assist, and they're panicking Vancouver. Yeah. I've picked up on that people aren't sure where Adam Foote's going with his team and what's going to happen. And like with Pettersson, we've talked about him so many times over the years, the 3 of us and the 4 of us when you join us, Ray. And I'm getting concerned from afar of like whether or not this guy can get out of the rut. And you see him up close, and the market, and you know how they feel about him. Like, give us the glass half full, glass half empty approach to him on why you think he could return back to stardom, superstardom, or why maybe this is who he's going to be, and if so, that's going to be serious trouble for Vancouver.
Well, if this is who he's going to be, they've got enormous problems because he's their highest paid guy. They're not strong in the middle of the ice. He has to be their best centerman. And if this is how he can play, then like they're sunk. I mean, like how are you going to work around that? the glass half full is that he's healthy, and he was really engaged and skated quite well in training camp. It's like the game overwhelms him right now at times. And I'm really it's not like he had a 50-point year and you're like, oh, maybe he could get to 70. He had a 90-point year. Like, where did it go?
100-point year one time?
Did he get it? Yeah. Did he get that
close?
high?
He was tipping up on it for sure. He was.
I'm pretty sure that cat had 100 points in the National Hockey League.
Like, where does it go? Like, how do you go? This is the thing I just cannot get from him. Is like it can't just disappear, can it? Like, yeah. I don't understand. I can't think of anyone that I would compare to that sort of thing. Other than injury, take a guy right out of commission. But he used to get the puck, and he's not a super fast guy, but he'd go north with it. He'd get himself into a position to shoot it. He'd shoot it. You know who's not fast and a great player is Wyatt Johnston. Mm-hmm. He's not fast. He's not big. He's not strong. Like none of those things you'd go, oh, this is why he's a really good player. He's just a really good player. He's got goals in 3 straight games.
Quick, Ray. Like Wayne Gretzky.
Right? 2 strides.
Not a bullet skater, but he was just quick and he was on everything.
Yeah.
And so I think if people are, in Vancouver, of course, the panic button's at 11 already. And it's because of what Pettersson has not been able to do out of the gate. And so they can talk about the depth of the roster and, they've got really good goaltending, and Quinn Hughes hasn't had a very good start either. He's such a fabulous player. But you can talk about all those things, but if Pettersson doesn't get out of the mud, I don't see what the solution is.
With Ray Ferraro, Florida got hit again today against Kulikov, which was not technically today. I think the last few days they knew this was coming, but he's out for 5 months, and Barkov's done, and Tkachuk is out, and yet they've won games and they've kind of hit the ground running, but they've played more hockey than anyone else the last 3 years. They're still the prohibitive favorite. If everyone's healthy, they're still the best team in the league, but where do you see this going in Florida? If your other top-end teams in the East or top-end teams in the league, are you starting to gain some confidence that maybe the wheels are going to fall off a little bit, considering everything that they have to go through already?
Well, I mean, we put our picks in at the start of the year. I had Florida as a Stanley Cup winner again, even though I'm like, how could anyone possibly win 3 years in a row? And then Barkov got hurt. And I'm like, well, that changes everything. Because you can say, they can, Lundell can move up, and they've got Bennett, and Rodriguez used to play center, and so they could put him there too, but it's just not the same team. It's like you take your best all-around guy, and even if he were able to come back, like, at what percentage is he going to be able to come back at? So I don't really care how many guys they've lost. They're a good team. They're going to make the playoffs. I would be worried about playing them, because you might get into a series and then you get no chances and they win every game 3-2 or 2-1. Like, they could do that. It definitely brings them back to the pack, though. Like, no question. I remember talking to Paul Maurice. It was actually here. I'm in New York now. And last year, and he said, they'd gone through a rough stretch, and he goes, I'm a little bit worried, but I'm not concerned. He said, I'm worried because we're giving some points away and we're not playing well. And so I keep thinking of that each time I read, here goes another guy for, what's Kulikov, 5 months or something or other. Right? And you're like, but they're kind of like, the old tortoise and the hare. And teams are going to race out and get into a lead, and they're just going to plug along and just, eat up points and get enough points and get to 96 points and make the playoffs, and then everybody's got a problem again.
Ray, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the talk of the National Hockey League is Easton Cowan and the Toronto Maple Leafs in his
I didn't know that.
Yes, it is. It's accurate.
Everyone is buzzing about it. Like, what do you think needs to happen? We were talking about it earlier in the show, about him staying on a line with Austin Matthews. Is it like, does Matthews have to continue to produce? Does Cowan have to continue to look comfortable? Like, what do you think the odds are that he could stick on that top line with 34?
Well, two things. One, I think, is going to depend on, like, at what level of consistency can he play? Like, can he? Because when you're playing with those guys, like, right, you see the other team's big boys all the time. You get the other team's best defense pair all the time, and you're like, it's hard. And what if he goes 14 games with 2 points? Like, you can't keep him there. It's no good for him. The other part is, if it's not him, who's it going to be?
Right.
And so that's really the trouble that you get into building a lineup is, okay, so it looked good for one game, and so of course you go back in another game, but what if in 2 weeks it doesn't quite look so good? Who are you going to put there and feel confident that that's the right guy?
A heater road trip with matchups and really good teams would be fascinating to watch relatively soon, because then you're going to see what you're in for on the road.
Well, just think of what Edmonton had to do last night. Same sort of thing. Like, it's easy to play McDavid and Draisaitl at home together, but when you get on the road, you get the other team's best D, you get their best matchup line, and they broke them apart. First game really on the road that they were in a little bit of a blender a bit, and they split them apart. Because it's hard to play on the road. And I loved being like a number 2 center, because the other guy had to play against the other team's best guys. That was perfect for me. That was the place I belonged. He's so young. Like, I don't know. What do you think? Can he maintain a pace that would say, yeah, this is a first-line winger? I think it would be really hard, and expecting a lot from a kid just getting his feet wet.
Yeah.
Well, he's looked good the first 2 games, but to your point, they're both home games, and they're not against the greatest teams in the world, Detroit and Nashville. And he's not the biggest guy in the world either. And, one of the kind of sub-stories about the last couple of games have been he's taken a couple of hits, and there's been some scrums that have kind of surrounded him, and the role of Austin Matthews in that as the leader, the captain, he hasn't been exactly flying into the scrum to kind of protect them or to be a part of it. And my theory is I'm curious if Matthews is still thinking about the injuries he suffered last year, and does he want to put himself in any position where he might, trigger that again? I hope that's not his mentality, but I'm curious if you think it could be to an extent. If you ever came back from injuries and you're just weary of that. But also just, the role of Matthews in making sure Cowan is comfortable, but also feeling somewhat protected. Meanwhile, he's Austin Matthews, and he's the marquee guy.
I think if you're expecting Austin to do that, you should find somebody else on the ice to do that. You got a couple of knuckle draggers on the blue line, like, jump in there. Like, what that would be like, Yari Curry got slashed and Gretsch should jump in there, and like I know it's a different time. They stuck Dave Semenko there. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking for Matthews to protect him, like, how's that going to happen? Like that, he doesn't, I'll say this is kind of weird. He doesn't protect himself. Like, when there's a scrum, he just kind of skates away from it. It's not like he's going to dig in and, and get into a scrum. It's just not his way. And so when, I don't know, I think that's a crazy expectation to think that he's going to jump in the middle of the scrum. And what if he does and somebody grabs him and feeds him one? Then that's, now you got another problem.
Yeah.
Right, and then that probably ends any idea of him doing it, again in the future, if that ends up happening. But,
from memory, getting punched in the face is not that much fun. It's
not
really,
generally.
No, it's just, and trust me, when I fought 12 or whatever times, there was a little bit of that going on, and it wasn't me punching anybody. That's for sure.
So, Ray, as it pertains to, we've been talking about, the first just over the week of NHL hockey. I mean, has it been? I think the games have been incredibly sloppy. Is this different than other years, or is this just maybe more focus on it. But I feel like the games have been different this year as compared to other years in that first week and a half, 2 weeks, because every game I've watched has been really sloppy.
The game I did last night was Tampa and Washington, and we walked away and went, wow, that was a surprise. Like, it was really good. It was physical. It was it was intense. And we're like, where did that come from? Because I'm with you. Like, it's been a turnover fest in each game that I've done and watched. And some of it, I guess, is early on. I got to thinking, though, John Cooper told us, Vasilevsky and Kucherov and Point, they only played like a game and a half of preseason. And I'm like, yeah, what's going to happen next year when there's no exhibition?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that first 3 weeks of the season is going to be like this. And I mean, early hockey is so different than even a month from now. It just doesn't look the same. It is messy right now for sure.
Yeah, and I can't imagine coaches are overly happy with the idea that every other coach is going through the same thing. But you're right. I mean, like we said off the top, like there's some teams that are skating through it. I think Carolina won again last night. They're on the West Coast, I believe. And, what can happen here is a team that is dialed in, like you can start your year 8-2, 9-1, and you're cruising, right? Like it seems like such an easy, obvious message, but you take
Brian, that's a great thing to think about, because every year we hear, it's early. And then you get down to the last 10 games of the year, and here's a team with 8 overtime losses, and 5 of them were in the first month. You're like, you just threw away 5 points. I mean, you can say in October they don't matter, but man, the league's different than it used to be. Those points do matter. And even if you're not a great team and you can jump out fast, you feel good, maybe you can build some momentum. Hey, Calgary did it last year. They got out of the gate really good. And then all of a sudden they felt like they were a good team and they almost made the playoffs. Now they've stumbled coming out of the gate, and it's hard for you to make up ground when things have to be right at the red line for you to make it. And these points are sloppy or not. I think coaches they'll take the points and run away right now.
Absolutely. If you get them, you don't have to explain anything. Marty St. Louis last night probably wasn't ecstatic. And then Demidov, man, that Demidov kid, have you seen him live yet, Ray? He looks pretty good, man. Bell Center.
I saw him in the playoffs last year, and I was like, oh, my God, this guy's played 5 games. He's not scared of anything. Like, he was taking the puck and, like, diving into the traffic, and I'm like, man, he's just a kid. Like, he's a player, man. Like, and remember when he was drafted, nobody was sure was he going to come over, and they Dan Milstein, the agent, had him down in Florida. He has a camp down there every year for his Russian players, and there's a whole whack of head scouts go down to watch the camp because all these prospects are skating in one place, and they all came away and they're like, yeah, that guy's different. He's a player. Like, he's a rookie of the year, serious candidate.
Yes,
for sure. I mean, like his ability, and I'm at the Islanders tomorrow. I can't wait to watch Schaefer play. When Scott Arniel says, he skates like Cale Makar, I'm like, oh my God, I got to go watch this guy play. So pretty pumped to watch him. And there's 2 of the guys that'll be up near the top of the Calder race.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, enjoy New York, enjoy it tomorrow, and enjoy the Jays against Seattle tonight, Ray. We'll do it again soon. Thank you, buddy.
Who do we have on the hill today? Who's on the hill?
We got Shane Bieber, the stash. Bieber's he's gonna be lights out tonight, and
Bieber will be tomorrow.
Good. Bieber will be good.
Yeah, you better
Bieber
win Game 3.
Yeah, I know. Scherzer scares me tomorrow, but hey, you got to win one, and then the rest will be history. We'll find out starting tonight.
That's why you're the host of this show. You put things together like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I point out the
you
obvious.
2 guys are really lucky. You 2 guys are really lucky to be.
I make it sound good and look good. Sound good and look good. That's all that matters. Fake it to make it, right?
Yeah. You got half of it right. So.
That's right. All right, buddy. Good seeing you.
Take care, guys. Good to see you.
Later there he is, Ray Ferraro, our ESPN hockey analyst, and, of course, one half of the Ray and Dregs podcast All right, out to Seattle we go. Tim Kurkjian coming up, also of ESPN, ahead of Game 3 tonight. We'll catch up with Tim next. That's bets later in the hour on Jays Mariners Game 3 tonight. Needless to say, it's a pretty big one for the Blue Jays. Pretty big game for the Blue Jays. Shane Bieber on the mound. Santander back in the lineup. He'll hit cleanup tonight, and the Jays fly west, and they've been playing so well. They had been winning a lot of ball games. They had hit everything that in sight, pitched relatively well, and then it all went up in smoke through 2 games.
I already told you, Hazy, I have an awful feeling about tonight. Maybe our next guest can talk me out of it. Does he have some kind of good feeling?
Let's get to a glass half full approach here from ESPN. He's at the park now. Here's Tim Kurkjian. Tim, can you spin this positively for people in Toronto? Why should the Blue Jay fans back home be feeling good about their team going into Game 3 tonight?
Did you guys watch the regular season in the Major Leagues?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Because if you watched it, you will know, and I know you watched it, that just when you think you understand what's going on, you realize that you don't. Just when you think this team, whatever team it is really good, it loses 6 games in a row. Just when you think that same team is really bad, it wins 8 games in a row. This has been the most unpredictable season that I have ever covered in 45 years. So anyone who thinks this is over, and that's Milwaukee, L.A., that's Toronto, Seattle, they didn't watch the 2025 season. Anything is possible in this crazy season. Do I like the situation the Mariners are in better? Of course.
Yes.
Of course. But anyone who watched the season would recognize that anything is possible in baseball in 2025. We've seen 1,000 examples of that. That's why you cannot give up on the Blue Jays or the Brewers or anybody else at this point.
Yep.
So you're saying, Tim, that Vlatty can totally flip the switch and be the hitter that he was against the Yankees? That can happen tonight? It will happen tonight?
There are no guarantees. 2025 made sure of that. However, yes, he can flip it, and he can do exactly what he did in the LDS when he was devastating. The only player ever to get 9 hits and 9 RBIs in the first 4 games of any 4 games of a postseason. No one's ever done that. And yet all he's done since then is ground out to the shortstop, the second baseman, and the third baseman. But this is baseball. Anything can happen. He's a great hitter. It could turn. But let's face it, he is the critical piece here, and he's got to get this going. Otherwise, the troubles could continue.
Yep, and everything you say about the 2025 season would apply to the Blue Jays. Maybe first and foremost, 94 wins. They win the East. No one saw that coming, and their backs have been up against the wall at different times, and they have come storming back. Also sweeping the Mariners in Seattle back in May. And that, I'm sure, is something they're trying to, take some confidence from. But O just mentioned Vlatty. Another, big portion of the lineup tonight is Anthony Santander, who's back in the lineup. He pulled himself from Game 2. He's not only back in the lineup, he's hitting cleanup tonight. Barger's moving down. Santander has been a missing piece literally all year based on injury. But he's a veteran that can hit for power, and they need it after the first 2 games. What is your level of confidence that Santander can supply that and be productive tonight for the Jays?
Well, we asked John Schneider before the game, someone asked him, I didn't, who's your pick to click? And he said, I got a really good feeling about Tony. That's what he said. Really good feeling about Tony. So we'll see. He's 6 for 15 with 2 homers lifetime against George Kirby. And not many people have good numbers lifetime against George Kirby. And I also think it's important that you just put him right back in the cleanup spot where he hit 44 home runs last year for the Orioles and has hit over 100 homers the last 3 years combined. I'm a believer in that when you tell a guy, I don't just trust you to get in the lineup, I'm going to hit you for it. Plus, physically, he's feeling better. John Schneider told us that yesterday was really helpful that he had a day off, and he's moving better. He's playing right field. So I have a good feeling about him, too. But, again, let's always remember the ballpark in which we're playing. This is a difficult place in which to hit. And, I can't say, they're going to win 9-8 and a couple guys going to hit 2 homers. Not in this ballpark. Not with the pitching they're going to be seeing.
Coming into the season, did you expect George Springer to have this type of season and still be that productive and really that dominant all season long? And he's been great in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, did not see it. You guys know he hit 6th on opening day. 6th, while Andres Jimenez hit 4th on opening day. Just another reminder how this lineup has evolved. But this lineup took off when George Springer was put back in the leadoff spot. And as you know, he worked with Michael Brantley in the offseason, one of his best friends in the world and a former teammate in Houston. They worked in Florida, and he came back. Even though he had a terrible spring training, Springer came back a different hitter. And, you know, he had the highest OPS gain, 285 points from last year to this, of any player in the major leagues. Cal Raleigh had the second highest. It just shows you he was not done, and when a freakish athlete like him figures out what was wrong, and then he goes out and makes it work, this is the beauty of baseball. You know, great NBA basketball players, you know, don't get to his age and suddenly start to score 25 points a game after scoring 8 points a game last year. This only happens in baseball, and it only happens with freakish athletes like George Springer.
Well, he will bat leadoff tonight. You mentioned Cal Raleigh, and, of course, he'll bat second for the Mariners. We're chatting with Tim Kurkjian of ESPN. He's in Seattle, Game 3 tonight. And the guy that will face him, at least early in the game, is Shane Bieber. And a big conversation in Toronto has been, you know, John Schneider's approach to the starters and how, you know, quickly he takes them out. Gausman twice, you know, against the Yankees and against the Mariners. You Savage the first time around, not necessarily the second time. He was getting hit and his velocity was down. But if Bieber, what would Bieber have to show Schneider tonight that would allow him to go into the 6th or 7th inning and them to deviate from this plan where they're not letting their starter give them more than 15, 16 outs or 75, 77 pitches?
Yeah, well, what the Blue Jays have learned is when their bullpen is good, but when you see a reliever enough times, you start to figure it out. So I think the leash, even though this is a crucial, almost a must-win for the Blue Jays, I think he's going to go a little longer with Shane Bieber. And you guys know the numbers are pretty good. Now, the numbers against the Mariners are great. I mean, his last 3 starts against them, he's got a 0.47 ERA, no walks, and 21 strikeouts. But that was a long time ago that some of those numbers were put up there. So they have to factor that in. He also pitches exceptionally well in this ballpark, as a lot of pitchers do. But, yes, I think he's going to go longer with him. And I think the key with Bieber, as it always is that, you know, what's he going to do with that slider and that knuckle curve? The league just did not figure those two out this year. If he's got both of those pitches going, he's going to have a good night.
All right, we can't wait for it. You're in Seattle. Enjoy it tonight. Thank you for doing this, Tim.
Okay, my pleasure, fellas. See you.
There's Tim Kurkjian of ESPN, live from the park ahead of the game tonight. And, of course, post-game, Hedge, Keegan, they'll be on the field doing their thing like they always do. And, you know, we'll see. Bieber going, you know, getting through 6th, getting into the 7th inning, maybe miraculously deeper than that would be a hell of a story. But
well, he's a free agent, isn't he? Wouldn't there be a lot of teams looking to sniff around on this guy to see what he's made of, to say, if we're going to kind of look at him as a potential guy, he's got to do something. Mm-hmm. Or maybe if he doesn't do something, it might cause some concern for some teams.
Well, he's got a player option, I believe, that he will more than likely opt out of. I'd be shocked if he didn't. I think it's like a $19 million player option, which is crazy to say that.
That is insane.
Turning it down.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. No chance. But he's 30. He's recovering off, you know, Tommy John. He's won a Cy Young. He's going to get paid. Like, he will get paid. The question is, will it be in Toronto? Because the Jays are going to have to rework their rotation moving forward. If Scherzer's done, Bassett likely done, what do they do with Barrios, who's not even, you know, he's injured, but he's not even an option right now, and he pitched his way out of being one.
Is he injured?
Yeah, well, he was at the end of the year.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt at the end of the year, and they moved into the bullpen. Remember, they took him out of the rotation, so I'm not sure, even if he was 100% healthy, I don't think he'd be playing for them. But that's a question for the offseason, but it's going to be a big one, you know, how they rework the rotation in the future. But it's a big opportunity for Bieber, like a big opportunity. And like we said yesterday, maybe you win 10-9, but maybe you got to win 1-0. Right. You don't have a choice. It's 1-0. It better be pitching and defense, and you find a way to get a big run, and the rest will be history. And that park, it's a big park. It's going to be windy. It's tough to register a lot of runs. We'll see.
Bieber's going to have to be good, though, man. Like, he doesn't – he's just – you know the way he pitches, it's not like he overwhelms you and just destroys guys at the plate. You know, it just seems like
precision. It's got to be precision.
He's got to be on. You're right. Yeah. And if he's not, you got to go to the bullpen quickly, and that'll be interesting to see what they do.
Don't even say that. Don't even say that, man.
I get it.
They're going to have to, though.
And they had an off day yesterday, but they're hoping to play 3 full games in Seattle. You got to consider that. Bassett came into the game the other night. I can't imagine he was ecstatic about that situation.
No.
Right. You know, it's
well, dude, if Scherzer is going tomorrow, when's the last time that guy pitched?
It's been weeks. It's been a couple of weeks now. And he's been prepping and doing
I get it, but that's a long rest for a dude that age, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it is. And I'm sure they're hoping or thinking Bassett maybe in conjunction with him tomorrow, possibly. So they need to start out of Bieber. It's a non-starter, man. You can't have the bullpen up in the second inning. You can't have it. You can't be in a jam and thinking we gotta but if you have to, you have to. You can't live to see another day. You have to win tonight. You have to if you're the Blue Jays. All right, best bets coming up. And we got NHL games tonight. We got baseball games tonight. We got the Dodgers flying home up 2-0. Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. The Dodgers and Ohtani and the whole crew. They're likely going to do it again.
Did
Injured
you see
all
the guy?
year.
I think it was Milwaukee. They had the bases loaded and they were down a run, and he moved his leg to not get hit by a pitch. Did you see that?
That was in Game 1, I believe.
And then he struck out the next pitch.
That's right. Game 1, that would have tied the game.
Yes. All he had to do is just get hit by the pitch, and it was some kind of weird curveball, and he moved his leg.
Yes, you're right. I think it was Ron Darling. It was like, man, I think you'd want that one back. You'd probably just lean into it like –
yeah, take that one for the team.
Yeah, you kind of have to take one for the team there. That's where instincts kick in, and that's what happened. All right, best bets coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm on the Jays in the under tonight. Jays in the under. Feels like
close
Jays
game.
3-2. Yeah, it feels like Jays 3-2, and they're gonna have to get a start from Bieber. I think it's imperative they get on the board first. Got to make Seattle chase it. You got to quiet that crowd. But I'm on the Jays in the under tonight. That's our parlay going into Game 3 tonight.
8 o'clock start, right? 8:06 or 8:07.
8 tonight, 8 tomorrow, and I think 6 o'clock on Friday, I believe. So yeah, you know what it's like. Vancouver fans, they know what it's like when Toronto teams roll into town. It's whatever works for us, right? It's prime time for us.
What do you have a better feeling about, Hazy? The offense turning it around or Bieber's performance? If you had a better feeling about one, what is it?
I'm going to go Bieber first.
Did you really feel that, or are you hoping that?
I'm hoping that because I just feel like that, on the road, the crowd, the Jays
it's going to be a zoo, man.
Yeah, they haven't been in this spot really in a long time either, right? Like the Yankees series, they're up 2-0. They flew to New York. That crowd was fragile. This crowd is going to be crazy. And the Jays there's going to be some anxiety, and I think the best way out of it is to kind of ease into it with a pitching performance. Right? Like Bieber's got to be on one tonight and allow your team, if they have a slow start, to feel like you're still in the game. The worst thing that can happen is Bieber gets torched early. You're down 4 or 5-0, 2-3 innings in. Then you're just like it's over. It would feel that way. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlay is now available for every MLB game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 18 plus. Physically located in Ontario. All right, we got Game 3 tonight. We've got
I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trap game. Ottawa Senators going into Buffalo. Buffalo's going to like a wounded animal, and so's Ottawa, missing Brady Tkachuk.
Yep.
That's a weird game. Like,
that's a weird game tonight. You're right. And I think I saw, was it Bardown was posting about it, that tickets are like $2
$11.
for this.
No, $11.
$11.
$11. So, like, there's that.
For what kind of ticket, though? Like,
well, I'm sure, but to get into the building, I mean, $11
for an event in 2015. Dude, you can't get into a fair for $11.
Exactly. 11 American, though, which is about 35 Canadian.
True.
Right now,
but you can't get a coffee for that.
I know.
I'm not lying. I went to a hotel downtown Toronto this morning for a FanDuel event. I had a muffin and an orange juice. It was $23.
Yeah.
$23. That's 2 tickets to Buffalo.
Dude, 2 tickets to the Sabres game tonight.
Yeah.
2
Crazy.
And probably a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
2 tickets and a raffle ticket.
And a hot dog.
And a hot dog for your coffee and an orange juice or whatever it was.
Orange juice and a muffin.
And an OJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, $11. And guess what? It's going to get worse if this keeps up. Tickets in March, April in Buffalo will be free. Like if you show up and say I'm willing to step in.
Around. They got to turn it around.
Do you think they're turning it around?
If they get their goalie back, I mean, if Alex Lyon's playing all the games, if you get UPL back, he's pretty good.
Okay.
Benson's playing tonight, and if they get that, but I mean, listen, they got to play better. Like bottom line is they're 0-3. Like, and it's the sky is falling there because of the history. 0-3, other teams can dig out. What you're looking at is 14 years plus 0-3.
Totally.
That's what the fans are saying.
Just got to get out of the whole misery thing. Like, just someone's got to just make a stand and say this is changing, and it's just we have nothing to do with the 14. I don't know. I'm just thankful that I've never been in that situation, but someone's just got to say this nonsense just stops.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how cool it is to play in the NHL and being in that environment. If you're just like again losing, it would be so awful, man. Awful.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, they need it tonight. You're right. Ottawa, tough spot because Tkachuk is out, and you're facing a wounded duck, man, of a team. Like, they have to win. The fans are going to be ornery there, the ones that are in the building. Yeah, we'll see. Ottawa's got to get one tonight.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a weird one.
Well, we'll see what comes of it. The NHL, Game 3 tonight. Tomorrow we got Thursday Night Football. We got the Leafs playing the Rangers tomorrow. We get a lot cooking here. A lot cooking here. There's a lot going on. We're coming down the stretch, too, for the Grey Cup, moving towards the CFL playoffs. There's a lot going on here. All right, boys. Good stuff. Good stuff, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you for all of your help. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. Every show up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.